Hey guys, welcome back to another guide on Mount and Blade Bannerlord. Today we're going to be looking at policies when you're creating a kingdom, which ones you should pick, and essentially what they do. So when you first create your kingdom, and before you choose your name, it's going to ask you to pick a maximum of 4 policies, and it's not going to tell you what any of them do. It's just going to give you a basically description of what it is, but it's not going to tell you what it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover what they do and which ones will benefit you the most. So for example, if we look here at land tax, it says a shift in the tax system that puts more emphasis on property and less emphasis on the head tax charge that everyone could collect more from wealthy landowners. But to us, that means nothing. So we're just going to do what it says. We're going to select our basic one, and then we're going to name our kingdom to Forest People. And there we go. Now we're going to be at war with people. But it doesn't really matter. So if we go ahead and we're in the wrong tab, if we go into our kingdom tab here, and on the top, we're going to have all of our different tabs, but the main one is policies. The main one for today is policies. Now first it's going to tell you your active policies, which for us is land tax. And now that we've created our kingdom and have the tab up here, we can see what it is that it does, what we've picked and what it will do. So it says 5% of the village income is paid to the ruling clan as tax. So that means any villages that your kingdom owns, regardless of which clan owns it, 5% of the income from that village is going to be paid to my clan, to me. But it also means that there's going to be 5% less village income, well, obviously, for all the clans. So you have your positive and negative there. So if you are in another kingdom that isn't your own, this one is going to be against you. However, if you're a ruler and you pick this, it's going to be massively for you. So it's going to help you. It's going to give you more money, but it's going to make sure that everyone else has that little bit less. So it depends if you own your own kingdom or if you're serving a different kingdom, because you can apply for policies in other kingdoms too. Next we have our state monopolies. The ruling clan gains 5% of settlement tax as tax per town. Ruling clan gains 5% of settlement as tax per town. I feel like that's worded weird. I'm not sure. But yeah, essentially, so again, you're going to get more tax from everyone's town. So exactly the same thing as land tax, but essentially just from the towns instead. So it's going to be that little bit more money. So it's probably something, if you own a lot of towns, well, obviously, if you kind of got to look at the prosperity of your towns over your villages. If you think ultimately you're going to make more money from 5% from the villages, so if you have 3 villages per town, but each of those 3 villages adds up to earning more than the town, then go for land tax over state monopolies. However, obviously, if your towns are earning more money than your villages combined, then go for the town. It's going to decrease workshop production by 10%, and that will affect you as well as the other clans. That will bring your workshop production down. So probably if you've got some high level towns, it also means you've got high level villages, so you probably want to go for land tax over state monopolies. But essentially you can go for both if you wanted, because essentially you can get all of these if you wanted, but they do counteract each other and they're not all good, so you don't want to have too many. Next we have Sacred Majesty. Ruling clan owns 3 influence per day. Non-ruling clans lose influence per day. So again, if you're the owner of a clan or a kingdom, that's really good. However, you've got to take into account that every other clan in your kingdom, if they have less influence, then they're not going to be able to hold their armies together as well. You can hold your army together really well because you're going to have a lot more influence coming in, but they won't be able to do it because they'll be losing influence every day, which is not what you want really, unless you are going to be the only person who forms armies. So people won't be able to hold them for very long. They won't be able to form them that well. So what you want to do is kind of avoid that, because although it does give you a lot of influence, it's going to negatively impact all the other armies in your kingdom. But if you want to be the only person to control them, then it's the perfect thing really. Next we have magistrates. So rulers can appoint magistrates to rule in disputes and solve crime. So town security is increased by 1 per day. However, it's going to reduce everyone's taxes by 5%. But obviously, if you've got low security or if you're at risk of a rebellion due to low security, then it could be a temporary one that you could go for, and it could help out a lot. Once you've solved that security, you can then disband this policy, get rid of it, and get that tax back. Debasement of currency. So the ruling clan gains 100 dinars per day per town in the kingdom. but this also means that the settlement loyalty is going to be decreased by 1. And again, unless you have a high positive loyalty in all of your towns, this is probably one you want to avoid. So this is more late game. So as you're starting up, you want to avoid this. It's not going to help you that much. It's going to bring your loyalty down and give you a higher risk of rebellion, which again is the last thing you want. We got this land tenure, precarial land tenure. The influence cost of proposing settlement annexation is reduced by 50% for the ruling clan. Now, settlement annexation, I believe this is when you're taking it away from one of your lords or nobles or one of your other clans. So it's going to reduce how much influence it costs in order to do this. It might be from, is it from your clans? I've never tried this, to be honest, so I'm not sure. It might be from either your clans or in a barter with another kingdom. I'm not entirely sure. But essentially, yeah, it just means it's going to reduce the cost of that. Probably, again, something you want to avoid. It's not something that most people do that often. We've got crown duty, so 5% tax on tariffs is paid to the ruling clan. Again, tariffs are just something that gets paid on caravans and villagers that enter towns, so it's essentially just 5% tax is going to be paid to you from your towns and other places like that. You're going to have a higher trade penalty in towns. It just means the cost of things is going to increase, which will in turn negatively affect your workshops if you have them in any of your own towns, and your prosperity is going to decrease by 1. So again, not one you want to really pick, because although you're getting that 5% tax overall in the long term, you're just going to be bringing down everything else, so eventually you're going to be earning less. So it's not one that you really want to pick unless you need instant money quickly, but then you want to get rid of it. Imperial towns, so towns held by the ruler gain 1 loyalty and 1 prosperity per day, so that's again really good for you. Towns held by non-ruling class only lose, so that's only 0.3 loyalties per day. So I'd say this is a really good policy, because you're gaining 1 loyalty and 1 prosperity, which is a hell of a lot, and they're only losing 0.3 loyalty. So I think that's actually a really good one, because that's not that much loyalty. They could easily solve that. So if everyone's kind of been set up for a while, it's not new towns, that could be a really good one. And you could just make it so that you own the new towns for a little while, build up their loyalty, and then hand them off to somebody else. Royal Commission. So we've got the influence cost of creating an army is reduced by 30% for the ruler. So this is a really good one. This could go hand in hand with Sacred Majesty. So you could get that increased influence, and then the actual cost and cohesion would also be less. But obviously it means that anyone who else is in another clan, but like I said, if you want to control the armies yourself, or if you want to make one massive army with everyone in it, then this is ideal. You could put Royal Commissions along with Sacred Majesty, so you could get that extra influence coming in, and then to actually form an army and keep an army held together, it's going to cost 30% less. So it could be a really good one if you use it wisely. But obviously it's going to make it so that other armies that other clans form, so if you're not doing it yourself and you want them to do most of the work, it's one you want to avoid. Royal Guard, so rulers' party is increased by 60, non-ruling clans lose at 0.2 influence per day, so it's actually not too bad. 0.2 influence isn't much, and they'd probably counteract that as long as they've got any form of settlement. So you'd probably be alright with that one, and the extra 60, so that is a lot of extra men that you could have in your party, so that could really help you. Again, this is kind of one that you could pick when you go to war with somebody, and then you could get rid of it afterwards. It's not one you have to hold, so it could be a very good temporary one. And we've got war tax, so ruler gains 5% tax from all settlements. Towns lose 1 prosperity a day, that's quite high, and the influence cost of declaring war is doubled for the clan ruler. So you gain 5% tax from all settlements, but towns lose 1 prosperity per day. So is that worth it? That's entirely up to you. 5% from all settlements. If you own a lot of settlements, you could get a lot of money from that. So it really depends if you need that money desperately. But otherwise, I would say avoid it to begin with. As long as you've got enough money, it's not really one you need. Also, if you're not fond of declaring war, if you usually get declared war upon, then that doesn't really matter. But yeah, losing 1 prosperity a day, I'd tend to avoid that, because the prosperity, as long as your prosperity is constantly going up, it just means that eventually you're going to get more money from that town anyway. So you don't want to tear that down, you want it to keep building up. Kingdom decisions, so this is like voting for somebody to own a castle, voting for war, voting for peace. And the influence cost, it will be reduced by 20% from the ruling clan, so you make the deciding vote essentially. But yeah, that just means it's going to cost 20% less for you. We've got King's Mercenaries. So the ruling clan gains double influence from mercenaries, and non-ruling clans gain 10% less influence from battles. So mercenaries again are the mercenary clans that you can form together. What's an example? The Foresters. The Legion of the Betrayed, those are mercenary clans. So when they win battles and things like that, they will gain double influence. But all your other clans are going to get 10% less. So it doesn't really help here or there. It just means if you want to hire a lot of mercenaries, again, this is probably something you want to do at the beginning, when you don't have many people join you straight away, and you go for mercenary clans. So this could be like one of those initial perks that you want to pick. So it could be a really good one for that. Senate. All lords have a formal role on the council. So tier 3 plus clans gain 0.5 influence per day. Influence cost of inviting lower tier clans to army are increased by 10%. So yeah, essentially, so anyone who's at clan tier 3 or above is going to gain 0.5 influence a day, so it's really good. Most clans you hire are probably going to be over tier 3 anyway, so it doesn't actually affect you. It's just going to make sure that everyone else is getting more influence. And it's only going to increase the cost of inviting lower tier clans to your army, so you could just go around that and avoid that altogether. You'll just be giving everyone else influence, and you wouldn't really be losing anything as long as you don't try and get anyone that's like a tier 2 or 1 to join you. Lords Privy Council, it's exactly the same thing, but just with tier 5 and tier 6s, and then anyone lower than that is going to cost 20% more influence to join to your armies. So it's exactly the same thing as the Senate, but more focused on the high tier clans, which again could benefit you more because you want those higher tier clans to form armies rather than the lower tier clans. Military Coronate, so military achievements grant 20% more influence. That just essentially means that battles and other things like that, you're going to get 20% more influence from them, but it's going to increase everybody's troop wages by 10%. So essentially what it means is you're going to get more influence, you're going to get more renown and more morale when you win battles. However, it's going to increase your troop wages by 10%, which is a hell of a lot. So again, probably something you want to avoid unless you really want to build up your influence a lot and you've got a lot of money on hand, then it doesn't really matter. Feudal inheritance. So we've got the cost of revoking a fief from a clan is doubled. So essentially, just if you want to take away somebody's fief for your own or give it to somebody else, it's going to cost you twice as much. And clans gain 0.1 influence for every fief that they own, which is really good for other clans. And if you're serving in another kingdom, you could vote for this one. It would help you a lot. It also means that the ruling clan isn't going to take your fief away as often. If they do, serfdom. Villagers grant 0.2 influence per day to the owning clan. Not bad. Towns gain 1 security but lose 1 militia and prosperity. So I'd avoid that altogether. Your militia you could probably live with, but losing prosperity, no. You want to avoid that as much as possible. Noble retinues. Tier 5 plus clans lose 1 influence per day, and the party size of their leaders is increased by 40. So again, you could add more troops to the leaders of those tier 5, tier 6 clans, but they're going to lose an influence per day. However, again, if you've got something else that counters that and gives them that extra influence, then that could be the way to go, just to give them some more troops. You've got castle charters. Simple. Castle upgrade costs are reduced by 20%. There's no negative to that, so that could be one of those ones that you pick straight away. That's just going to mean that you can build those castle upgrades 20% faster than you could before. So that's a really good one, and that's one I suggest getting immediately. Bailiffs. Town security is increased by 1 per day. Towns with a security greater than 60 yield 1 additional influence to their owner, and tax from towns are reduced by 5%. So you're losing 5% tax from all your towns, but you are gaining 1 security. So again, this could be something if you've just taken over a town, or if you've just started and none of your towns are quite there yet, this could be one to begin with. This could be one of those initial ones that you want to pick. It's going to boost your security, and as soon as all your security is above 60, you're going to be getting 1 extra influence from that. So that's a really good one, but you have to just suffer from the minus 5% tax, but that's not too bad. Hunting rights. Food production in towns and castles is increased by 2%, and loyalty is decreased by 0.2. So again, that's another really good one. The negative's not that high. It's only 0.2 loyalty, and you're getting +2 food production. So it could be something that's really good, especially during wartime, and you need to build out that food a lot quicker if places are getting sieged. So that could be a really good policy to go with initially as well. We've got road tolls. So trade tax paid on the town to the town owner is increased by 3%, and town prosperity is decreased by 0.2. Again, it's only 0.2, so it's not actually that bad, and it's giving you 3% trade tax as well. So it's going to increase your money a lot more. As long as you've got your prosperity at somewhat of a decent level, and you're not getting just 0 per turn, but you're getting something positive, then that's not too bad. That's only taking away 0.2, so I would probably suggest that one. For kingdom decisions, tier 4 plus clans have double effect, so it's just essentially their influence is going to count as twice as much. The influence cost of a ruler overriding the popular decision is also doubled, so it means that for you to have the deciding vote, your final decision, it's going to cost you twice as much. But it just does mean that all the other clans in your kingdom have more of a voice, more of a say in what happens. Marshals, armies led by tier 5 plus nobles require 10% less influence. Influence of the ruling clan is reduced by 1 per day. So losing 1 influence per day isn't too bad, as long as because you're going to be the ruling clan, you should be getting a lot anyway. So it shouldn't be that bad, and it just means that all your tier 5, tier 6 nobles can form armies at a much less cost. So again, it all depends on what road you want to go down with forming armies. So like a lot of these, because a lot of them can work together hand in hand, but you have to make that decision of how you want your armies to be formed, if you want to do it yourself or if your other nobles want to do it. So we have Council of the Commons. Each notable yields 0.1 influence per day to the settlement's owner clan. So essentially, yeah, you're going to be getting each notable. So the notables are the merchants, the gang leaders, and everything like that. So every single notable that you have, every gang leader, that's going to be giving you 0.1 influence a day, which is not okay. So 0.1 per day to the owner of that town, which isn't too bad. That's not too bad at all. I think it's town and villages. But tax from fortifications, 5% decrease. So you're going to be losing 5% tax from your castles. Yeah, your castles and other fortifications, like the actual fortifications itself. So that's not too bad, to be fair. Again, that's just if you need a lot of influence. And if you own a lot of places, that could be a lot of influence together. Charter of Liberties, militia quantity is increased by 10%, and 10% of militia troops will be higher tier. Revenue paid to both liege and local ruler is reduced by 5%. So you're going to lose a little bit of income on your villages, towns, everything like that, but your militia is going to increase quicker, and they're going to be of a better quality. Forgiveness of debts, so settlement loyalty is increased by 2 per day, really good. Settlement production is reduced, so you're going to be losing a little bit of money, a little bit of production. However, +2 loyalty is really good, especially this is one you want to grab if you're at risk of a rebellion anywhere and you need to boost that loyalty, but you don't know how. Get this policy, it will just really boost your loyalty, and you could always get rid of it at the end once you've kind of secured it and you've got your loyalty to a stable amount and keeping it positive, even if you take this away. So that's one you definitely want to get if you're looking like you're at risk of a rebellion anywhere in your towns. So next we have citizenship, so 0.5 loyalty to your settlements that have the same culture as you. So if you're an imperial and you own imperial towns, they'll get 0.5 loyalty. Again, that's kind of just a boost because if you have the same culture anyway, then that's going to give you plus loyalty regardless. So it just gives you that little bit extra, but I wouldn't say it matters too much. Settlement militia is also going to go up by 1 as well per day. And you're going to lose 0.5 loyalty per day to settlements with a different culture than your owning clan. So again, if you own a lot of places, you can decide to only own towns and cities. Towns and castles are the same culture as you, and just give it to everyone else, because it only affects the ruling clan, this one. The owner clan, this one, sorry. So it's only going to affect you. You don't have to worry about how it affects everybody else. I mean, you could, but essentially, if you're just worrying about yourself, then yeah, you could make it so that you're getting a 0.5 plus loyalty to all of your own places, but nobody else's. So that's just one to consider. It depends on the size of your kingdom, really. Tribunes of the people. So town taxes paid to the ruler are reduced by 5%. Town loyalty is increased by 1 per day. So you're, again, another one, pretty simple. You're losing that little bit of tax, but you're gaining loyalty in your towns. Settlement loyalty is increased by 0.5 per day. Daily hearth production at villages decreases. So, yep, you're going to be getting 0.5 loyalty in all of your settlements. Once again, to your castles, your towns, but you're going to be losing 0.25 hearth production, which is how your villages grow. So again, that's not too much, it just depends on how much you need loyalty, because there's a lot of other things in here that affect loyalty positively, so probably not one you want to avoid, because I feel like there's better ones that you could go with, but again, one to consider. There we go, land grants for veterans. We've got militia quality is increased by 10% and village tax income is reduced by 5%. So quality of your militia is going to go up again, so if you pick this one with the other one that does that as well, you've got 20% quality for your militia gone up, but you're going to be losing 10% of your tax from those villages. In this case, just 5% if you want to pick one of them. Law speakers, all clans whose leader have high charm gain 1 influence per day. All clans whose leader have low charm lose 1 influence per day. Now I think that's about 60-80 charm, so if you have high charm then you get +1 influence. It's that simple. Not too bad, but yeah, only do it if you've got high influence. Most people should have a high charm, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about that one too much, probably avoid that one. Settlement loyalty is increased by 0.5 per day. Settlement security is decreased by 0.2. So if you have higher loyalty, like generally you should have higher security, but you can just improve that by adding to a garrison. Bigger the garrison, you should have a massive security increase. So you could probably go with that if you need to increase your loyalty. But everyone is going to lose 1 influence per day, so I really don't think that's a good one to go for unless you're really desperate and you've picked everything else that you need for loyalty, then go for it. And the last one here, we've got cantons. So daily militia production is increased by 1, recruits replenish 30% faster, and tax income from settlements are reduced by 10%. Now it's 10%, which is a huge amount of tax, however, you've got to consider your recruits are going to replenish 30% faster, and you're going to boost your militia production by 1 everywhere. So that's actually really good. If you're about to go to war, or if you're in a war, this could really boost all of your men. Every single one of your nobles will be able to get recruits faster. Your armies will boost their numbers a lot quicker. So it's probably one to consider, definitely, if you're at war, and then probably get rid of once you're out of that war and made peace. But yeah, that's all of the policies, guys. I'm sorry if it's dragged on a bit. I've just tried to explain all of them as best I can. I've gone through all of them because I know some of you can't see them before you create a kingdom, and the last thing you want to do is just jump in, pick one without actually knowing what it does. So I hope this helps. I'll try and put down in the description the times for as much of them as I can. Maybe not, I'm not sure how I'll do it, but yeah, I hope this helps. So I'll try to keep it nice and simple, just going top to bottom. But yeah, let me know if you've got any more questions about this. If you've got any suggestions, tips, anything like that, let me know down in the comments below, or go ahead and join the Discord. Again, you can ask me questions on Discord as well, and I'll answer them there. So if you've got any more questions about policies or anything like that, make sure to go and join the server, or just message me privately on there and let me know. Otherwise, I hope this helped, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification button so you can keep up to date with all the content that will be coming out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.